we discussed before that willfully blindness is self-defensive mechanism which trying to protect us from being harmed whenever we enter into any situation that could break down ourselves or getting ourselves being pity. Of course, usually in mentally form, we will ignite our this mechanism to defend ourselves from the danger that that would harm us. But then in physical form, we knew how to avoid it from being injured. Like we knew if we are standing in a higher place that would have risk of falling down, we would tend to not stand closer to the edge. But how if we facing the problem that is not engaged in physical but mentally or spiritually? For example, like um, gangbang, insulted by colleague, ignorance from another half or parents. But most of us will choose to ignore those feelings and think it is normal in the relationship with certain people like father, mother, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever friend that is best with you. And then you knew and then you knew there is some action or habit of them that get you annoyed, got you fed up. But then in longer time, you used to be it and keep ignore it instead of against them again and again. It's like you are numb to you are numb to them, and because you knew that instead of I cannot, sorry, my mouse is not functioning. We are I can't wait. Please give me a moment. Oh, so just now what I said is you once the habit that got you fed up, in longer time you used to be it or keep ignoring it instead of against them again and again, because you knew that the most important, you thought that if you keep against them, you think it is rude and you got the bond between you and them getting thinner and thinner. Okay, so right here we roughly knew how and what is actually blindness looks like. And here we continue our topic halfway from last week. Love is blind, and we are not. And if we are not willing to learn it in willfully, we will mess our own life eventually. Okay. Uh, so far so good. Then the next slide, I'm going to explain. So last week we had learned there is four type of love, which is eros, phileo, agape, storge. If those still not remember what it is about, please take a look on last week video or you could Google search for it. My question here is, um, actually my question here is, uh, how many basic need is a question before this slide. My question here is how many basic need is there to support us to survive? I need you guys response. Food, water, shelter, love more. Okay. How about the air? Yeah, correct. How about the others? Okay, so cloths. All right, it's a. So let's get it shot into the slide I want to share with you guys. Just now, Ian, Yvonne, and Payone or Jinli have shared already that the basic needs are. Actually, this is most of us knew, or those still not remember. I'm here to revise again that remember that the Maslow hierarchy that we learned in primary or secondary school, that we knew that there's a three area of needs and also five categories of need we need to understand in this hierarchy. And then just now the example provided by Ian, Yvonne, and Jingli or Payone is a basic needs to to s- to let us survive. It's a survive needs. And then in our knowledge, after the basic needs, which is food, water, warm, rest, security like clothes, just now Payone or Jingli provided the safety needs. After those needs which keep us alive, the one comes after is belongingness and love needs. As you can see mm, as you can see, after the belongingness and love needs is the esteem, which is come after that. It is arisen when we fulfill ourselves by giving love to others and receive love from others, and that builds up our esteem, which I refer it to self-worthiness or self-acknowledgement. So in here, the love is in the center of this hierarchy lah, because we need to fulfill the love is not fit into the basic needs is because us human without love still can survive, because or we just need the basic needs of food, water, the habitats, and the sleeping, those things to keep us alive, survive in outside the environment. But then the love actually comes after that. For this one, I have done not enough research. So I think, sir, can you explain for us uh why love is important important after we fulfill our basic needs? Sir, can you eh? Sir, can you help me add on about
Okay.
why love
Okay. Can
is
hear me? Can everybody hear me?
yes.
Okay. First thing we need to understand is that let me make a slight correction first. You don't fulfill physical need first before you fulfill love need. I don't think so. I think it's everything is together. Okay. Together being we all need it at the same time. That's why when people, you will notice that when people, I give an example, when people lost love, let's say relationship broken, you will notice that they think of committing suicide. So they gave up, they don't eat, they don't take care of themselves. Notice or not? So you cannot say that the physical need comes first. No, it's all together. Okay. One word. It all ties in together with the way you value yourself, the self-esteem. That's why at the end of the day, your self-esteem? How strong is your self-esteem? Your highest self-esteem is fulfilled when you are able to fulfill a purpose, which is self-actualization. So we all strive to do that. Okay. So when you feel when your esteem is good, think about it. When your esteem is good, you have better appetite. You also know how to take care of yourself. When your esteem is bad, you don't know how to take care of yourself. You eventually lose your drive to take care of your basic needs as well. Now, this is where esteem comes in many different ways. Your identity affected by many different things. One of the things affected by your self-esteem is the value through relationship, value through love. In other words, love provides the means of feeling value, experiencing value. So if a person is not loved, then you lost your sense of value. That's why we are not created to find value within ourselves. We all have this need of value through relationship, through love. Because we are social being. We are not we are not individual being. We are social being. Okay. Of course, because of the different personality makeup, the needs for this love is different with different people. But yet, everybody needs this love related, love that brings about the sense of value, which builds self-esteem or self-value. Yvonne said, just curious, in the self-actualization column, it was written there, including creative activity. Must it be creative activity? Now, I think here, creative activity doesn't mean that you are doing something new, but you are building something new. Building something new isn't doing something new. Does that, am I answering, Yvonne, your question? Creative is not like the creativity that we talked about. Creative is the idea of building something. That's creative activity. Let's say, for instance, now Yi Huang is creating the series of slides to prepare for this lesson. That's creative activity. Yi Huang's effort to put in the right picture and put in the right, find the correct color tone, find the right sequence of slides in order for him to present the chapter is already a creative activity. That's why whenever we do work like this, I know it's tough, but we feel good. Why? We have fulfilled creative activity. We have shown, it's like demonstrating our value. Our value is demonstrated by what we are able to produce. So here the creative activity refers to production, not the abstract creativity, but productive creativity. Productive activity is called creative activity. Create, that's producing something, is create. Okay? Okay. Any question here? Okay. Okay. Yi Huang, you're okay with my explanation? You can continue from here.
Yes, I can continue because I continue to next slide. So so after we knew that the love comes together with all basic needs, we don't just survive without love. We don't just survive without love, but to becoming better with love. So a lot of us um, still choosing how to say, a lot of us still recognize love. Sorry, I I I miss some part again. I start with this slide first. So for this slide that I want to bring out from what I read through the article is that we blind after we love. So so a person who really love you sees what a mess you can be and how moody you can get and how hard you are handled at times, but still wants you in their life. It's very familiar that a lot of couple acting at this way because they think of their beloved one is in their own perspective is perfect for them to last longer lah. And then why is it uh a lot of people treating it as stupidity, and most of people thinking is romance, but yet what I see is actually a kind of blindness. So love is not a blind, but it's just it just chooses to overlook. It's a choice for us to pick ah. So uh once the people have a lot of experience with each other together, especially share experience, memory, they either keep their best to keep moving on or straightforward break out their relationship. Yeah. The most case that the most case that break that usually the most cases that break out usually thinking is the best way for each other to carrying on their life ah. But another scenario, if couple choose to remain and not going to separate, then that's how the action they pick comes in uh then that's how the action they pick comes in, which is blinding themselves to overlook each other bad side. And then in a surprising number of cases, people fall in love with their idealized vision of their lovers or with the idea of being in love rather than with the actual reality of their lovers. Indeed, people keep saying uh indeed people keep saying that they are living out or sharing their dream with their another half, and then the positive illusions comes in emerge in. It is in fact becoming their main focus to remaining the romantic love, which a lot of couple dreaming of it. Okay. Couple did not see clearly at all their beloved negative trait and tend to create an idealized image of the beloved one. That's the that's the thing I want to share in this slide lah. So, got any share? Got any additional want to share? Sir, you got any add on? Eh?
First question, maybe I want to ask, why does love blind? Okay, why does initial love? Why is initial? Let's say if you are talking about early love, you suddenly fall in love, right? So the romantic love is still early. Already is blind, right? Why? Or you don't agree that love is blind? Then there's a different. I'm assuming that you are agreeing that love is blind. And now I'm talking about initial love, the early romantic love. Why is it blind? What is causing the blindness? But you just fall in love. What do you mean by idealize? You just fall in love. What? You haven't even spent enough time to really know the person. How do you idolize? I'm talking about early love, romantic relationship.
For me, maybe I think it's two parts. Like now, since you're bringing up initial, right? Maybe initial, we're talking about, the feelings, the emotion of, like those puppy love. The feeling is very, well, very shocked. This person, message me every day. This person, call me darling, whatever. Then you are latching on to that feeling of being special. I mean, if you're talking about initial lah, but then so you would blind yourself, or sometimes you even unconsciously blind yourself because you see that, oh, this feeling, this emotion that I feel is, maybe it's worth whatever bad thing he's doing lah, or yeah lah, whatever vices that he might have, or it's just a matter of, you feel the good outweigh the bad, or
Mm-hmm. Good. Mm-hmm. Okay.
initial lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. In other words, one of the driving force is the feeling. You don't want to give up the good feeling. Okay. Good. Because you want to retain the good feeling. So if you want to retain the good feeling, right, it may cause you to be blind towards those negative things that may remove the feeling. So you don't want to remove the feeling. So you selectively ignore the negative things. Okay. What about others? What other thing may cause blindness in the early romantic relationship? Can pressure to be married cause blindness? What pressure? Good question. Anybody else can answer, Eunice? Not possible, Yi Huang say. Others? Pressure, not pleasure. Pressure. Pressure. Especially parental pressure. Family pressure. No, I'm not talking about arranged marriage. I'm talking about when a person begins to get old, and then parents start nagging, "Hey, 你已經三張啦，仲唔快啲揀一個結婚?" Yeah,
I think
societal pressure and parental pressure, correct. Yvonne say, "Yup." Who was trying to talk just now?
no, nothing.
You need say God. Okay, can this cause willful blindness? Okay, Jesse came up with another one: loneliness pressure. Okay, I think you're beginning to get it, huh? You notice that from the beginning, early in the romance, there are some things that can somehow pressure us to be willfully blind. Well, yeah. Jesse, you're right. You begin to feel a bit desperate, right? And in your desperation, what do?
You just grab
begin to
whatever it comes home.
You begin to ignore. You begin to ignore maybe some of the shortcomings. Okay? So what I'm trying to do is get you to be alert to the fact that there may be many different factors that can induce blindness. Okay? Or to induce blindness due to love. Right? Now, let me go to another scenario, another phase. Let's say for some, have you heard of those long pak tor period? Some people have pak tor 5 years, they've been courtship 5 years. Right? Now, those situations, in other words, these are not new. These are long romantic. Now, when you long, you should be able to see already what, right? I mean, if you have spent years with a person, you should be able to see weaknesses already, right? So let me ask again, is it possible to be willfully blind, and why? What is causing the willful blind for a long relationship? Not short relationship anymore. Huh? I'm talking about long. Huh?
I guess sometimes we assume the problem will be solved itself over the time. So we tend to overlook. So we just like, 现在 put it aside, it will disappear one day. We hope. That's how we get blinded. I think so.
Okay. That one is sort of in the middle. But long, I don't think so. If the one that you let go, I think it will solve itself. Hey, after 5 years and it still haven't solved itself.
I have friends together for 9 years and broke up. Then how?
They finally couldn't hack it. That means finally they cannot be blind anymore.
You mean suddenly their vision open up?
Now, why 9 years? Also, the question is this. That means they were blind before 9 years, right?
It could be. Yeah, it could be.
QQ made a very important point. The cost of 5-year relationship. If you have given so much already, don't you think you are more tolerant? You are more forbearing? In other words, you will tend to say, okay lah, I mean, nobody is perfect lah. Never mind lah. Because I already invest so much already. Start all over again lah. Ayo, I better choose to be blind better lah. Possible? Ginny say, can it be that the partner could fulfill one's needs, that the person is willing to overlook all shortcomings? Yep, possible. In other words, some of the more important needs are met, so they overlook the less important. Is it? Because of the guilt, they spend so long together, it's hard to end the thing too. Yes. Yes. The willful blindness could be because they don't want to confront, because why? The pain of confrontation, the pain of breaking up. Now, what I'm trying to stir up is for you to understand that there are many different ways that, or different things that can induce the blindness at different stage of love. It's different. It's slightly different. Okay. Early is because of your excitement of your expectation, or the expectation of others, or the pressure. Later on is because of the level of investment already induced, or the difficulty now, or the pain that can happen if you confront. Right? Yeah. So love is blind at different stage of the relationship, may be slightly different. The longer they stay together, the more understanding of each other's strength and weakness than others, the harder to separate. Yes and no. You see, the more understanding of each other, is it necessarily true? Or is it only idealistically true? Okay. The longer they stay together, in other words, it is possible that the more blind they can make themselves to be towards certain things. It could be. Yeah, half true. Not necessarily true. That's why for all of you, now at your own stage, even when I stir up this awareness, you can look at your own life. Okay. What may be some of the elements around you, or in you, or some of the thoughts that you have that may induce blindness in a relationship, in your relationship with the opposite sex. This is awareness now is good. Okay. Yeah. Ian Tan say maybe it's not about more blind, but the blindness is more willful as the relationship get longer. Okay. Okay. Good. Thanks for the correction. True. Yes. You are not more blind. You cannot be more blind, but you can be more willful. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Very good. Thanks for the correction. Any other comment before I pass the time back to Yi Huang about love and how love can induce willful blindness? Okay, Yi Huang, back to you.
Okay, so next slide is next slide I just going to explain about actually it's related to the previous one to the previous slide now as this is an illustration that I want to show you that as we discussed before that the more we investing into relationship between each other, the more we protect it with our illusion masking all physical realities. Like because we had treating each other pretty much like what we expected or what we imagined, or in another way, meaning that our identity and security had much depending massively on each other. And then the I refer it the mirror effects that comes in. You had treating them as like a part of yourself and expecting them to fulfill fulfill the expectation or imagination of your better version. So a lot of mistake a lot of mistake that made between each other that will being overlooked, like um, what Ian just now say that it's it's not that becoming more blind, but actually we actually both of them becoming more willful to to choosing overlook each other weakness and past mistake. Yeah. Anything add on? If nothing, I proceed to next slide.
Proceed first. Proceed first.
Okay. So as the illustration just now, I show that we all know that there is a illusion inside our thought. And then I call this illusion usually most of us will have the illusion that transform into the reality. Yeah. So love is not blind. It sees more and not less. But because it sees more, it is willing to see less by Wilmos. So let's imagine that there is a girl. Okay. She witnessed a happy, joyful or blessing family going around, and then she thought, oh, I want it. I hope I can have a family like that in the future. And then that's how the initial illusion that planted inside our mind, planted in her mind. So sooner or later, when she got her family eventually, only she found out that the reality wasn't really the same as what she thought or she expected as earlier. And that's how the girl that's how is the girl realized that she got two options: either keeping a good image in her mind, convince herself that she is going to make her parent make her own family become the better version of her own expectation, try to mending up the family and makes it become what she imagined of, or or she just try to maintain as what just happened, no? Just don't just ignoring what had happened, just keep going on, let it flow, and then being being ignorance all the time, just being blind. Like you try to. Okay, so there's the two option ah. That's how we there's a example that we had the illusion at the beginning, and then we hold it in our mind, and then try to make it happen in to our real life in future lah. So far any add on? If not, I proceed to next slide.
Let me push the let me go a little bit further than the two situation just now I have used. Romance, early romance and later romance. Now let me move further. Now marriage. Okay. Now you're married. Now in a marriage, what will induce willful blindness? Now that you have a family, what will induce willful blindness? Please explain. Okay, for the sake of your kids. Okay, so you begin to use your kids as a motivation for blinding yourself. Okay, yes. What else? Okay, this is a societal pressure of the image of a wonderful marriage and a wonderful family. Yes, yes. In fact, this is a lot. This is very, very, very strong. Okay, where broken family or divorce is still not very acceptable yet. Then you struggle to still maintain the wonderful family marriage and family image. Yes. Some more? Anybody else got any more? Hey, you read the book, you should be able to come up with somewhat. Or unless you didn't read lah. Okay, good. In the olden days, yes. In the olden days, husband work, wife, housewife, then the struggle. Because you, especially if a wife have never, have not spent much time at work. Now, today, different. Both husband and wife are professional, then not so bad. Okay. Yes, in the olden days, yes. Or anyway, when one party has been away from the workforce for too long, then the fear of going back and the fear that you will not be able to get back into the workforce and be independent and all that. Yes. Okay, good. Anything else? Not quite sure what you mean. How is that related to willful blindness? This is more like if the person will tell other people about the weaknesses of your other spouse, then the person is not willfully blind. What? If a person is able to tell other people about their weaknesses, that's not willfully blind. Uh-huh. No. Why I don't normally see that happening. Why would I be afraid to confront my spouse? Because I'm afraid my spouse will go and tell somebody else. But why would my spouse go and tell somebody else in the first place? Because if my spouse go and tell somebody else, my spouse is telling the whole world that the marriage has a problem. I'm not sure how this works. What you are saying works. I'm not sure how that scenario will work. Will happen anyway. Anyway, that's what I mean. Now, that's where the book tells us, once you willful blindness in a marriage, especially in a marriage that's not very healthy, this is where abuse can happen, can continue. Okay. Once you start blinding yourself, it perpetuates abuse. There's no confrontation of the other person's weakness for the other person's weakness to stop. So if there's no confrontation of the other person's weakness because you're willfully blind to the other person's weakness, then the other person's weakness will perpetuate. And if the other person's weakness involves abuse, then the abuse will perpetuate. That's why it is dangerous, willful blindness in a family or a marriage context. Okay. In fact, in Facebook, I often watch some of these reality show about there's this Wilkos or something like that, where, or even Dr. Phil. it talks about people who wants to go and take a lie detector test to find out whether their other person is telling the truth or not, and all that. Now, for some of these cases, in some of those cases, the problem has gone on for years, before they finally find the courage to go and request for a lie detector test. But already the abuse has happened for years. Okay, some even worse still. After taking the lie detector test and the lie detector test has already proven that the person is guilty, yet the other person, the other spouse, refused to accept. No, cannot be. The lie detector test is wrong one. It's not telling the truth. My wife or my husband is not like that kind of person. Wow, that it reached a point where the willful blindness is so blind that they challenge the lie detector test. There are cases like this, many cases. So some of these situation, willful blindness can really perpetuate to very serious abuse. Okay. The other one that I find real concern in a relationship, in marriage, is fear of conflict. Why? Because of the perception that a happy marriage must be free from conflict. In other words, a happy marriage must not have any conflict. Any conflict means the marriage is not a good marriage. How many of you, how many of us, let me ask you, how many of us have thought of this? Have you even have this sort of, I don't know, fully or partially, have this kind of mindset? That a good, happy marriage should be free from conflict. That means there shouldn't be any conflict in a good, happy marriage. There shouldn't be any fighting, spouse fighting, or argument. Okay, so nobody has such illusion, then except me, I had. Okay, this is what it's called, idealizing marriage or idealizing a family. Okay, be wary of idealizing marriage and family. It should be like this. There shouldn't be any argument. There shouldn't be any conflict. There shouldn't be any fighting. There shouldn't be any disagreement. Everybody must be. There must be a full consensus. Agreement must be there. Because if you do have that kind of ideal image, I can't imagine having a family. Okay. Never mind. Maybe I'm jumping the gun to ask this question. Okay. TV shows or drama nowadays, leading people thought that marriage should be like this or like that. Yeah, definitely. Or love should be like this or like that. Yep.
Yeah, my especially when my okay, I'm not telling my friend that she had a lot of so-called the love experience, and then until until she exposed herself that she watched a lot of drama and she had the life like that, and then I like like seriously like a 公主病 ah, like see that princess ah. And then that's how I think that she is the main she is the people who brought all the love she met lah. And then that experience told me that a lot of youngster, not only the youngster but also also even my mother also think like our our family doesn't looks like the TV drama that. But then I think she's being influenced by the drama lah, because she tried to avoid all the bad things that happen in the drama that would happen in my family. And then once she make that once she made that things, she will try to avoid it. Like serious have a have a anxiety and very anxious about that. She will prepare a lot of um, prepare a lot of backup to avoid that things happen when she watch from the TV drama. And then both my brother and me like so suffocate of her actions sometimes.
Okay. Anybody else? Otherwise, pass back to you, Yi Huang.
Eh, uh, wait, I think the next slide I'm going to show also related to the slide just now I discussed that when the moment we meet our so-called another half, will treat themselves like what I said just now, will treat themselves becoming a part of us, like being a part of us. I think sorry the start a lot of conflict. So sorry, a lot of conflict because what I going to present from now on until and from now on is not related to what exactly should be going on. So should I keep going on what I had prepared?
You decide. You decide. You are the chapter leader. You decide whether it's relevant to go on or not. If you decide not to go on, then I will step in. If you decide to go on, you go on. You decide.
Okay, I think after this slide is a bit misleading. So so I need your help. Please help me continue the rest, please.
Okay. Okay. I take over then.
Yes, please,
Okay.
sir.
Now for this chapter, Margaret also talked about another type of love. You see, love, there is this love as in relationship love between a man and a woman that leads to a family. But there's also other form of love, community love. Now, community love or community relationship also can lead to this willful blindness. Why? Because again, our identity in life very much attached to community as well. Certain community, depending on how important that community is to you. That's why in the book, if you've read it, okay, one of the community that one of the example that Margaret was able to do a research was the Catholic Church in Ireland. In Ireland, the Catholic Church is very strong. This was years ago. Now it has weakened because of the problem that exists. Many years ago, Catholic Church is very strong, and everybody is attached to it, and that gives them a sense of identity. Okay, a sense of belonging, a sense of identity, which is again very much related to your self-esteem. So, but in that church, the later on, they begin to be issues relating to abuse, child abuse by priests, and eventually start one popping up, one after another popping up. And they begin to realize that the child abuse is very rampant, meaning it's not one case, it's many cases. Then the question turns up, how come? How come there are so many cases and why take so long? And then they begin to realize that the seriousness of the child abuse is very, very big issue. It's not a small thing. It's a very big issue. And there are many cases. And in some cases, involving a particular priest, we are not talking about one child. We're talking about multiple child. How did the priest get away with child abuse for so many child? Willful blindness, again. Okay? Because your identity is related to the community that you are a part of, that your identity is dependent in. So if your identity is dependent on the community that you are part of, if the community, the image of the community breaks down, then my identity also breaks down. And because I want to protect my identity, I need to protect the community because it's related. Okay, the credibility of the community reflects on the credibility of my identity. So if I want to protect, if I need to protect the credibility of my identity, then I will protect the credibility of the community. And in order to protect the credibility of the community, then I willfully blind myself. And that's what happened. That's why in the island, the situation happened. And then after that, the integrity, the credibility of the Catholic Church in Ireland suffers. And which is why now a lot of people don't believe in it. So it has created a big problem. But then by then, the problems that exist in the child abuse problem that exists and discovered is so huge. Now this exists. This happens a lot of places, by the way. And oftentimes it relates to a certain community that you become a part of. Especially when you attach your identity to the community. That means your esteem, your identity is very much dependent on the credibility of the community. It becomes very dangerous. Okay. Any question here? Now, this issue can even go bigger than that. And this is demonstrated in World War II by the example of Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany. In fact, recently only I watched a movie about this lady. Okay, this story, I can't remember what's the name of the story. It was so good when I watched it. It's a real-life biography about this woman who's a daughter of a Nazi. If I'm not mistaken, the mother is some kind of a chemist or a doctor or something like that. I can't remember. And then the mother happens to work under Adolf Hitler in one of the Nazi camp. And the mother, is so attached to Nazi Germany that even after World War II, after the defeat of the war, right, and after the prosecution of people who have served under the Nazi in killing the Jews, right? This mother still refused to denounce Adolf Hitler, and really the daughter suffer a great deal, and the daughter is trying to protect her children. So the daughter changed name, lived somewhere else, and refused to tell her children about the grandmother. Okay, until finally the story move on to the fact that the mother and the granddaughter went to visit the grandmother. And they were struggling. They had a huge struggle. And yet you can see willful blindness. The grandmother still adore Adolf Hitler and the Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany. This happens. Let me share the picture. This is what happened during World War II, can you imagine the Yi Huang? Can you exit your sharing so I can share my slide? Yeah, thank you. Okay, everybody can see, yeah. Now, during World War II, not just one country undergo willful blindness. That's why willful blindness can even go to the extent of a whole country, talking about millions of people. It's not about 10 people, 20 people willfully blind together, willfully blind to the same thing. We can be talking about millions being willfully blind to the same thing. Germany, the people willfully blind to Adolf Hitler's cruelty. Okay, what about in Japan? Okay, the people willfully blind to the emperor's request. Okay, and that makes them think that they are superior to everybody else. Same like the Nazi. And this is still going on today. Still going on today. Okay. You won't say Trump supporters, but let me also say Republican supporters as well. Not just Democrat supporters. I can see it happening in both sides. Okay, that both sides can be willfully blind. I have seen both sides where the Trump supporters or the Democrat supporters, right, refuse to accept that the voting results. But I also see that the evidence being shown about some dishonesty in the election, and yet the Democrat, the Republican also being blind to accept the fact that there could possibly be some dishonesty. Actually, it happened both ways. Let's go closer to home. Let's say Malaysia. Yeah, Yvonne, you're right. I'm not talking about him per se. I'm talking about his mazai, his assistants, the people working under him. Okay, because of what they stand to lose if they don't support. So this is where the fear of losing what you have gained, the fear of losing what you have gained can drive, can create willful blindness, can induce willful blindness. So this is something we need to become aware of. To what extent are we willing to allow our life to be blind because of something that we are not willing to give up? Okay, something that we may have exaggerated. Yeah. So any question here? This is where the chapter the chapter shows the impact, okay, of willful blindness, the extent, the size, the capacity, the size of willful blindness that can happen. It's not small scale. It can go to huge, big scale. Okay. Sometimes I wonder if the illusion has become a delusion. Okay. And sometimes it's very difficult to differentiate the both. Illusion and delusion. So is the leader like Adolf Hitler use illusion to create delusion? Okay. Yep. Yeah. It's always about losing something. I want to retain what I have. Blindness is caused by fear of losing if I see. What I stand to lose if I see. Because why? Because dissonance, what is called cognitive dissonance. Because cognitive dissonance means what I believe inside, right, must be aligned to what I see. So if what I believe inside does not align with what I see, then I must do something about it. But if I find that what I need to do something about is too painful and too costly, then I don't see. So that there's no what is called cognitive dissonance. That means there is no conflict between what is inside me and what is outside of me, or what I see. I cannot have this conflict when I don't see. Conflict only arises if I see that outside is different from inside. Does that make sense? Yeah. You lose this. So if you're willing to lose, then okay, then you will see. If you're not willing to lose it, then what will you do? Pretend don't see, no? So that I don't lose it. I don't lose the peace, or I don't lose the sense of security. I don't lose the good feeling that I have. I don't lose the feeling of safety that I have. The danger of fake it till we make it. But the problem basically is this. The danger of fake it is we'll break it. Why? The more we fake it, the more we allow the problem to continue, and soon the problem will break you. It's the same. If I'm blind to cancer, let's say I have cancer, first stage cancer, if I'm blind to it, because I know cannot be, I don't have cancer, I'm blind to it, what will happen? My first stage cancer will continue to second stage. Second stage cancer will continue to third stage. By the time I have to confront, it's already too late. It becomes so serious already. It's broken. That's the problem with willful blindness. Willful blindness will allow the problem to escalate. The earlier you confront, you have a better chance to resolve. You reduce the duration of the pain. And you also shorten the perpetuation of the problem. Okay, anybody else got any comment, input, feedback, sharing? Okay, then I will give a summary, a slight summary on willful blindness, or rather, love is blind. Okay, not knowing, that's fine. Okay, I don't quite fully agree. Not knowing is not fine, but it's not that bad lah to me. Okay, ignorance is easy. Knowing is hard, because knowing means we become responsible. If I don't know, I cannot be held responsible. But when I know, I have to become responsible. That's why it's hard. But at least it is real. It is the truth. Okay? Both knowing or not knowing is the truth. The worst is when you don't want to know, because then it must be something very bad. Otherwise, you wouldn't have so much difficulty knowing. Actually, I like this, Okay? In other words, whenever you don't want to know something, that means you think that the consequence of the something, the problem, that problem is bigger than what you can handle. That's why you don't want to know it. It's beyond your ability to handle. That's why you don't want to know it. Okay, this is something very important. So, which is why we need to grow. We need to grow so that we can handle it. Now, confronting is the only way to construct a meaningful future. Because if you allow willful blindness, it will perpetuate the problem. Think about it. Love is blind. Do you think the relationship will improve if you continue to be blind? No. Why? Because very simple. The problem is not solved. Okay? And the problem is not solved. The love cannot improve. The love has the illusion of being good. But in reality, it is not. It's hollow. It is empty. It is broken. And it continues to be so. So it will not be truly satisfying. So love is blind. Nations, institution, individual can all be blinded by love, by the need to believe themselves good and worthy and valued by others. We all have that. Okay? So, summary, but when we are blind to the flaws and failings of what we love, we aren't effective either. We make ourselves powerless when we prefer we don't know. when we pretend we don't know. Okay? We are powerless to make improvement from blindness. So love with low self-esteem enhances willful blindness due to the need to love, to be loved, or due to the need to belong. So one of the key elements basically is this. You must begin to discover and appreciate the value in yourself. Okay, one of the thing, which is why there's always a saying. Okay, the way you think of yourself will eventually cause the other people to think of you. How do you say? This is in the attitude class. I cannot quite remember the phrase I used. But basically the value you place in yourself will determine how other people will value you. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not asking you to overvalue. There is always a danger of overvalue and undervalue. When we talk about valuing yourself, it's always about correct value. When we overvalue ourselves, right? What will happen is we will expect ourselves more than what we are capable of. Eventually, we will fail. Okay? And also, we will disappoint. Why? Because the value you put on yourself, other people will expect that same value of you. Because that's the value you put on yourself. But then, if you overvalue, that means you are not capable. And when you are not capable and you overvalue yourself, what do you think will happen? People will expect the same value you put on yourself. But you can't. You overvalue it. Then people will get disappointed because people expect what you value. When you undervalue, right, then you also don't feel good about yourself. When you undervalue yourself, people will undervalue you too. And then lead to abuse. Then you will allow people to abuse you. The paradox of willful blindness, this is very important for us to remember. Okay? We think it will make us safe even as it puts us in danger. That's willful blindness. We think that willful blindness will keep us safe, but actually it allows the danger to perpetuate and get worse. Okay? So this is why we should try to avoid willful blindness. Okay. The end from my side. Any question, any comment? Any input, any feedback, any sharing? You can't make a person see what they don't want to see. But you can still reveal to the person with the hope that he will want to see. But you have to be gradual to give them the assurance that you have to somehow convince them to want to see first. You understand what I'm saying? You can't make a person see what they don't want to see. This is the first thing you must understand. You can't make anybody. I can't make you learn what you don't want to learn. But I hope to be able to convince you to want to learn. Then I show you what you need to learn. Right? So sometimes this is where we talk about a little bit about trying to influence. The power of influence become very important. Okay? Show the person that. That's why motivation. Motivation is the reason to do something. A lot of people are motivated or have the wrong, the kind of reason that makes them be blind. Okay? They in other words, their mindset has given them the reason to be blind. Correct? Show them the reason otherwise. Once the person can get that reason, then the reason is the reason is the thing that can induce the person to want something. That's why wanting something requires motivation. I need to have a reason, then I will want it. I can't want something without a reason for it. I still remember my days when I was trying to influence my mother. I still remember when I went to Australia, I learned some things, and then I came back. I want to influence my mother. I remember trying to talk to my mother, to tell my mother. It didn't work. Eventually, I gave up. Then I just live my life, right? And oftentimes, after some time, my mother saw. For older people, you can't influence by telling. You have to influence by showing. But for younger, you can influence by telling. Make sense? But of course, not all younger lah. Those people who you cannot influence by telling, you have to influence by showing. Of course, influence by telling is always faster than influence by showing. Because influence by showing, you're also not very sure whether the person can see or cannot see. Yeah. When sorry, I couldn't hear you. Sorry. When what? Yeah. For older generation, yes. Especially for children to parents. For children to parents, very hard to tell. You teaching me? I eat salt more than you eat rice. Sometimes in older people, when we give reason, they say we are going against them. Definitely. Because for older people, especially in family, they are your authority. You are not their authority. Right? Yeah. It is the same as in a company. Sometimes when we are the subordinate, but yet we see something. But it's not easy to tell your boss, right? It's not easy. Okay? In most cases, your boss won't listen. Is it their pride? Yes and no. I cannot say it's totally yes, but yes is part of it. But also bear in mind, they are in a higher place. I'm not talking higher physically. I'm talking about higher as in higher responsibility. They have other things to consider. Okay. Of course, they also consider the fact that the impression it will make on other people. There are many other issues at stake there. Yes. Yes. So pride is only one of those. Okay. One of those ego or pride is only one of the issues that makes it difficult for them to see. Also bear in mind, them having been caught up with the way they have been living and they have brought you up, right? And they have sort of have a mindset that has been able to get them through life and family for this many years. They have already applied the mindset that have got them to where they are today. So how can your new mindset that you are trying to tell them be more effective than their old mindset that they have already applied for so long? Right? It's not easy. It's not easy. Yeah. It's not easy. You're asking them to change the system, you know. It's like they're asking them to change. Take for instance, I ask you can you imagine you are changing your Android operating system and now suddenly change to your Apple operating system? Hey, I have difficulty using MacBook. And at my age, if I switch to MacBook, I die. It's a bit like that. So I refuse. I still remember, initially I refused to accept that MacBook is better. But of course, eventually it takes time. And finally, I realized, okay, I can accept that MacBook operating system is more powerful. It's just that I have a problem relearning from zero. Right? But before you can get there, at the beginning, when you hear, no lah, of course, I already, Android is better. Because why? Because I've been using Android and I can do so many things with Android. Okay, so I'm blind to the fact because I'm inexperienced with Apple operating system.